Hello, bourbon fans. I'm Tim, the Suburban Dad. I'm the kind of person that likes to veer off the beaten path a little bit when it comes to trying new things, especially bourbon and food, that kind of stuff. I'm not just satisfied with the cliche recommendations that people have. My taste buds might be a little different sometimes. Today, I'm going to offer you some suggestions for bottles that are comparable or similar or a great alternative for other more popular or even some hard to get bottles. Let's get to it. First, I want to talk about an alternative for Bulleit. I'm not really a big fan of Bulleit. Tried it a couple times, just doesn't wow me. The flavor is not super strong or complex. A great alternative that I have is Smoke Wagon Straight Bourbon. Okay, so price-wise, it's fairly close. Retail price for the Smoke Wagon is about $32. It's not anything overly impressive. It's just nice, but it's got a more rich flavor to it. It's got a little bit of a smoky, sweet type of taste to it. It does remind me a little bit of Bulleit, but there is more complexity even for just a few bucks more. Smoke Wagon as a brand is kind of tricky to find right now because they're blowing up. They're becoming so popular. Even their baseline bottle, which is their straight bourbon. So be on the lookout. Try it out if you haven't. It's definitely worthwhile. If you are a Knob Creek fan, which I absolutely am, it's fantastic on its own. If you like that, be sure to look for Wilderness Trail. They have several different expressions, but their flavor profile absolutely reminds me of Knob Creek. It's rich, it's complex. Prices for their bottles are definitely a little higher than baseline Knob Creek. We're talking around $50-ish, $60 maybe. If you can get a store pick that's barrel proof, grab that. You will not be disappointed. The Wilderness Trail, alternative to Knob Creek, something else to look for. It's becoming more and more popular, more and more easy to find. Here in Missouri, Wilderness Trail has arrived and it's in a lot more places now, which is great. Old Forester 1920, another great solid bourbon that doesn't need to be replaced. So I'm not trying to replace it. I'm giving you an additional suggestion. If you like that bottle, you will also love Iron Root Harbinger, which currently in Missouri is only found at Total Wine. Every now and then it's hard to find. It's definitely harder to find than the 1920. Price point, it's a little cheaper, $5-10 cheaper, so it's at $50. But man, it's 115 proof, so the same as 1920. Very rich, complex. Notice I keep saying that term complex because you don't want a flat, boring bourbon. That's a waste of your time. Nice and complex, gives you a lot more to explore, more of a journey to take when you're drinking your bourbon. Iron Root does not disappoint at all. It won World's Best Bourbon in 2020. You don't have to take my word for it. Other people have said so. I know a lot of you have trouble finding Buffalo Trace, just the standard Buffalo Trace bottle. For those of you dying to try it, or those of you who really crave it, that you know you love it, but for whatever reason in your area it's hard to find, or the prices are getting jacked up, whatever, you should check out Walker's Cay. Walker's Cay has very similar mouthfeel to it. It's very velvety and smooth like Buffalo Trace is, with just a little hint of spice to it. It very much reminds me of Buffalo Trace, but it's kind of flying under the radar right now because it's a brand new bottle. Most people haven't realized how good it is yet. Price point's a little higher. It's around $30-35, but it's got a sherry cask finish, and that's where the really smooth aspect comes into play. So check it out. And last, somewhat least, Weller Special Reserve. I've said plenty about that bottle already. It is very hard to find, at least around here. And even when you find it, it's going to be jacked way up in price. So, do yourself a favor. Find you a bottle of David Nicholson 1843. Now the proof point is kind of off in this comparison because Weller Special Reserve is 90 proof, whereas David Nicholson is 100 proof. So not worlds apart, but different. So David Nicholson has, first of all, it's like 20, 23, 25 bucks. It's at every grocery store around me out here, many liquor stores, easy to find, cheap. I even found it on sale one time for 15 bucks. Couldn't pass that up. In my opinion, it really does taste like Weller Special Reserve, except I actually like it. If you like Special Reserve, you should try David Nicholson. I'd be curious to hear what your opinion is on the comparison there. So that should get you started on veering off the beaten path when it comes to your bourbon journey and exploring. There are some really great bottles out there that are just not as well known. So get out there, explore, check it out. And make sure that you are up to date with all these helpful tips and information. Subscribe. And hey, give this video a like. I'd appreciate it. Cheers.